Just do what I did, Harry. And Harry goes, what? Drop my wand?
Hey, Draco, you know what would be funny? Throw a snake at him. What are we doing
Welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles, to Squibscorner. I'm your host, Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew, and tonight we are jumping into Chapter 11 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets,
Yes.
the Dueling Club. Jeremiah, why don't you start us out with your 7-word summary for the Dueling Club?
So this was such a good and long chapter. There's so much going on. I, for some reason, I had a very hard time picking a 7-word summary. There's just so much going on. So I went with something easy. Maybe I kind of cheaped out here, but I let everybody else decide. Time's running out. No being is safe.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I went with a little more kind of pick and chose what the chapter offered. So I went with more spells, Harry's hidden talent, another attack.
Love it. That's better than mine. That's way better than mine.
Jeremiah, no. They're both good. They both have their own merits. I love it. So that takes us into our 7-chapter notables. Okay. Number 1, Hermione's urgency is still kind of an underlying theme here. Number 2, the students staying at Hogwarts for Christmas. Some are understandable, some are a head scratcher. Number 3, the Dueling Club. Number 4, Expelliarmus. Number 5, Hermione's wrestling match. Number 6, Parseltongue. Number 7, more attacks. Last time we reviewed the rogue bludger, in which we found out that after Harry was attacked by a rogue bludger, which caused him to break his arm, which caused Lockhart to try to heal his arm, but ended up making all of the bones in that arm vanish. So Harry has to go to the hospital wing. And our lovely Madame Pomfrey used Skelegro to grow the bones back. And a couple things happened during the night. Dobby, the house elf, whom we all love, shows up and confesses to Harry that he's the one that basically magically didn't allow Harry and Ron to pass through the barrier to platform 9 3/4, and he had bewitched the bludgerer to not kill Harry Potter, but just physically maim Harry Potter, because Dobby doesn't want, just mess him up a little bit. Dobby doesn't want Harry at Hogwarts. There is something happening, and he thinks that Harry is not safe. Also, there's been another attack in the rogue bludger. It was Colin Creevey was taken up to the hospital wing in the middle of the night, and that takes us to the first chapter of Chapter 11, the Dueling Club. Harry woke up on Sunday morning to find the dormitory blazing with winter sunlight and his arm reboned but very stiff. He sat up quickly and looked over at Colin's bed, but it had been blocked from view by the high curtains Harry had changed behind yesterday. Seeing that he was awake, Madame Pomfrey came bustling over with a breakfast tray and then began bending and stretching his arm and fingers.
Yeah, I wanted to point out his arm reboned, but very stiff. When Lockhart had tried to mend his arm, but made the bones disappear, Harry had mentioned that, well, it doesn't do much of anything, does it? So, reboned, but very stiff, I think is the upper end of this thing that we're looking at.
Yeah, we accept.
Yeah. Yes. And so I had to pick your brain with this Skelegro. Do you think that Madame Pomfrey uses the Skelegro very much? Because she was very upset at Lockhart that he didn't just take Harry right to the hospital wing. She could have mended the bone in an instant, but regrowing it, that's a long process, and it's nasty because you got to drink this stuff.
I don't know if she uses it very much, but the fact that she has it in her stores tells me that she's probably needed it before. I mean, no telling what, the 6th and 7th years are doing as far as practical jokes, trying out magic, or if they're,
just imagine Fred and George.
yeah, could you imagine if they figured out how to make bones vanish, they would do it. Or you
They'd
think
go to
about,
town with that.
there's healing classes, first aid classes and stuff. They could be trying new things, and magic just goes awry. But I think Madame Pomfrey was more upset that Gilderoy Lockhart was trying to do her job, and
He's trying to do everybody's job.
No professor has any sort of confidence in Lockhart.
No. So to this point, let's talk about Hermione real quick. So, do you think Hermione at this point would know this spell, or somewhere in the future, say, they weren't around a hospital wing, weren't able to get to a hospital wing, do you think she would know the spell or have the confidence to correctly perform the spell? Hermione specifically.
That's at this point in her education, I don't think she would under the circumstances, but obviously in Deathly Hallows, when Ron splinches himself, she's fast to act.
Yeah.
But of course that wasn't really a spell. She just used essence of Dittany on it. So,
yeah.
But that shows us that she has studied up on first aid stuff, and she was obviously very prepared for that. So I don't know if she would do it in this stage, because there are some spells, like the Patronus charm. Anybody can yell expecto patronum, but not everybody can produce a Patronus, or more importantly, a corporal Patronus.
Yeah,
so
corporeal, yeah.
So I think corporeal.
The same thing with apparitions.
Yeah, in order to apparate, you can't. You've got to focus, determination, dedication, deliberation. So it's
5 Ds of dodgeball: dodge,
dip, dive, and dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. But I would say this: if any of my peers had to try to mend a broken arm, if I was a second year, it would be Hermione.
Oh yeah, for sure, hands down.
It would be Hermione.
Yeah. What about Neville?
Stop that. Stop that.
So Harry wakes up in the hospital wing with his arm full of healthy bones and is given the okay to leave once he's had breakfast. Now, obviously, as a 12-year-old that just spent a couple days, 2-3 days in the hospital, he's going to leave as quickly as he can so that he can go tell Harry, I think Ron,
it's just one night. I think he's just in there one night.
It might be.
Because she's like
the end of the second day,
yeah.
Yeah, but he's trying to go find Ron and Hermione so he can tell them about Colin. Or Colin.
Whoa.
But he couldn't find them, and I understand, like, the book describes that he was a little bit hurt, and I get that.
Where are my friends at? Where are my friends trying to check on me?
Yeah, you're not even out there waiting for me. You didn't leave me a note. You didn't tell Pomfrey to, like, hey, meet them over here. Nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go play hide and seek. So now we get to chapter notable number 1, sorry. Instead of Hermione and Ron going to check on Harry and to see how he was doing, which they had been doing, right? They had been checking up on him, but at some point they were like, all right, we got to.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I think the timeline is yesterday was the Quidditch match.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken to the hospital wing. He gets the Skelegro. It's going to take all night. So I think he's just in the hospiel one night.
Yeah, that's still very impressive.
And so Dobby shows up. Colin shows up. He wakes up. She's got a tray of breakfast for him.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty quick turnaround, but still, to have your bones vanish, you can't sleep in Gryffindor common room or the Gryffindor Tower. It's like, where are my peeps?
Well, I mean, when you're in a hospital and you wake up from a surgery or whatever, you expect to wake up and see somebody there.
Sure.
But you know what? They got a life. They got to go to sleep. I'm the person, if I'm going to surgery, I'm like, leave. Like, what are you going to
Yeah,
stare
what
at
are
me
you gonna do?
sleeping?
Yeah, what are you
Yeah,
gonna
what are
do?
you going to do?
You going to
I'm
assist in the
fine.
surgery?
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. Or is your presence going to make the Skele-Gro work faster?
Yes.
No.
Ron and Hermione were actually in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom working on the polyjuice potion, and that's where Harry happened to find him. They had already heard about Colin, but Harry surprised them by telling them his visit about Dobby and that the Chamber of Secrets had been opened before.
Hmm.
And I think their reaction to Dobby being there, he's already talked about meeting Dobby before. So when I heard, when I was listening to the chapter, I expected them to. Dobby was there, but they were just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Oh wow, Dobby. Yeah.
And Hermione knows, like, going into this just as little as Harry did about the Wizarding World. So sometimes I would expect her to be a little bit more surprised about things
Sure.
going on, but
She's preoccupied mentally and emotionally at the moment.
yeah, that's true. That's true. By Monday morning, the news about Colin had made its way to the entire school because it's a secret, so naturally
It's a
everybody
secret, so
knows.
everyone knows. Yes.
Jenny again was distraught as Colin was a first year and she usually sat next to him in charms. Poor Neville, though, not a muggle, feels as though he might be attacked because Filch was a squib, and Neville says, "Well, I'm just as good as a squib."
Which isn't good logic because at this point in the book, the chapter, there's talismans and objects to ward off whoever, the heir of Slytherin and Slytherin's monster. And so he's like, oh, well, I'm basically a squib and Filch was attacked. Filch was never attacked. Mrs. Norris was petrified, but Filch wasn't even anywhere near. So Neville, not only bad at magic, bad at logic. Sorry, bro.
Well, and did you notice no one was like, "Neville, don't say that about yourself"? Nobody. They're just like,
oh no,
yeah.
no, we're not correcting that. No.
You could be right.
So poor Neville. So now we get to chapter notable number 2. It was time for Professor McGonagall to collect the names of the students who would be staying at Hogwarts for Christmas. Harry and Ron, just like their first year, are going to be staying over on the second year. I think more so Ron stays so that Harry has company.
Ron
Hermione
goes home, and then he kind of gets picked on a little bit over there.
Yeah, he's not.
He's got a best friend now. It doesn't seem like Ron had a lot of friends now that I think about it.
Well, and if we look back to year 1, the Mirror of Erised shows that Ron feels overshadowed in his own family.
Yeah.
So him staying at Hogwarts, he doesn't have to worry about that. But now we've got Hermione is also staying, and they also find it strange and surprising that Draco Malfoy is staying at Hogwarts for Christmas, which doesn't make sense to me. I could see maybe Hermione is staying to keep Ron and Harry, especially maybe she told her parents. I could see Hermione because she wants to finish the Polyjuice potion.
Yeah.
Bad. So I could see her telling her parents, I've got to study, I've got to stay. Everyone that's going to make good grades is staying. So they're like, okay, do your thing. But Draco, it makes no sense.
It only makes sense for the plot. Other than that, at this point in time, later, yes, makes perfect sense. But at this point in time, you could have maybe she could have put Draco was staying because we could have had it because and it okay, problem solved.
Yeah. Anyway, so Harry, Ron, and Hermione, obviously Hermione. They set the plan to use a Polyjuice potion during the Christmas holidays, but they needed a few more ingredients to finish it. And this is where the chapter kind of gets fun. The only place to get those ingredients is Snape's private stores, which are adjacent to the potions classroom. So Hermione, cool, calm, and collected, came up with the plan. They needed a diversion during potions, and she would be the one doing the stealing so that Harry and Ron couldn't get caught again because they're on their third strike. So if they get caught stealing, they're expelled. So during the next potion lesson, while Snape had his back turned, Harry throws one of Fred's filibuster fireworks into Goyle's potion, and the game is afoot.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so great. I love it. Oh. But it's unfortunate that they were conjuring swelling solutions half the students got hit with the potion and started swelling. But the diversion worked. Hermione was able to slip in and out of Snape's storage closet without detection. Once they had the ingredients to the potion, Hermione proclaimed that it would be ready in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
But I love this whole scene right here with a firework going into the cauldron, Snape finding the firework, and Harry is like, "Bro, why are you looking at me?"
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
puts on
do
the
it.
face.
Yeah.
Oh.
Weird. How'd that get there?
Uh,
But he straight just, I see you, Harry. Ugh.
he knows. He knows.
But chapter notable number 3. About a week later, they were walking across the entrance hall when they saw some people reading the notice on a board. It was an announcement for a new dueling club that was starting that evening. And the book and the movie, everything about this chapter really feels like JK just dialed in and knew exactly where she was going with everything.
Let's broaden this wizarding universe.
Yeah, it's like everything made a little bit more sense. It seemed a little bit more orderly and a little bit more interesting, to be honest. I mean, it's always been interesting, but when you can really organize something, it becomes a lot more interesting,
Sure.
in my opinion. They walked into the Great Hall that evening, and the 4 house tables were gone. They were replaced with a golden stage along one of the walls. It seemed as though all of the school had turned out for the dueling club, but they still didn't know who was going to teach it. Now, wasn't it Slytherin and Gryffindor just in there?
It said it was for everybody. It said
Okay,
it was for everybody.
So anybody who wanted to be
Anybody
of
that
the
wanted to
dueling
go
club.
to the dueling
Okay.
club could go, yeah.
That makes sense. So the 2 people you don't want in the same room, the dueling instructor would be Gilderoy Lockhart. But that's
It's not enough.
It's well, right there, you know you're not learning anything.
Absolutely.
But worse, he was accompanied by Snape. Severus
Snape.
Lockhart made the mistake.
Gilderoy!
Gilderoy made the mistake of calling Snape his assistant,
Oh,
and that they shouldn't worry because you'll still have your potions master when I'm through with him.
that's a bold move by Gilderoy. Knowing,
move, Cotton.
No, let's see if it pays off. Knowing that, knowing what he knows about himself as a wizard, and knowing Snape as a wizard.
Well, Snape is, like I say, he's one of the smartest characters in the book.
Absolutely.
So we see that he could see through what's his name in the last book?
You can do it.
Professor Stuttering Quill. Professor
There
Quill.
it is.
He's seen right
There
through
it is.
him. Do you think he has an idea of Gilderoy without going too much into what the idea might be? I think
That's a
everybody kind of does.
I think everybody sees. Yeah, I think everybody sees through him. One of the kind of the backstory they don't give us is most of the people in Britain are going to Hogwarts.
Mhm. Yeah.
Gilderoy's British. He went to Hogwarts. Dumbledore's been at Hogwarts for a long time. Dumbledore knew what kind of student he was. And then for him to leave Hogwarts and do all of these things in his books, everyone's like, bro, you
Like I
barely
said,
passed.
Dumbledore tries to give everybody the benefit of the doubt
Yeah.
To a flaw. That's a really big flaw that he has.
Mhm.
Admirable, yes, but a huge flaw.
Yeah, it probably took Gilderoy 10 years to graduate from Hogwarts. So in the dueling club, eventually Snape and Lockhart get to face each other for a demonstration. They bow, and then they hold their wands in front of them like swords, which is the acceptive combative position. Then they count to 3, and they cast their first spells, neither of them aiming to kill, presumably. Chapter notable number 4. 1, 2, 3. Snape yells, Expelliarmus. And Lockhart is blasted off his feet.
Yes.
Which is a head scratcher if you've read all the books. Because
well, that's why I included a little bit of extra notes
we
here.
do have a few little extra notes here.
Yeah.
So Expelliarmus seems to have several different desired effects, but definitely several different effects. Most importantly, Expelliarmus is a disarming spell to disarm your opponent from whatever weapon they have. It's not just wands, but it is a disarming spell. So we see it several times in the books.
Yeah.
Where you use Expelliarmus and their wand flies out of their hand or whatever they're holding. So it can disarm them. And then sometimes we see that it disarms them and the wand flies directly into the disarmers or whoever casts the spell. It flies into their hand.
Mm-hmm.
If your magical abilities are strong enough, it can also send the opponent flying as if stunning spells were used. Now,
that's what exactly happened in this situation.
In the next book, Snape takes 3 spells to the chest. And it knocks him back. 3 Expelliarmus spells to the chest. And
I can't wait till we get to the scene with Hagrid.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Ooh.
So Lockhart staggers to his feet and explains that Snape used a disarming charm before making a bunch of excuses as to why he let Snape beat him in the duel. Of course, Lockhart figured that going a second round with Snape wasn't such a good idea, so he decided that he and Professor Snape should put the students into pairs so that they could practice dueling. Snape decides that it's time for Harry and Draco to match up. Hermione with Millicent Bulstrode, a very towering Slytherin girl. And
which do we see her in the movies? I know I'm asking you a movie question. Do we ever hear about her again other than this situation?
I would assume we do because it's pertinent to the next few chapters.
Yeah, I'll have to pay attention.
Yeah. I'm sure we meet her.
But is she another character?
She's mentioned.
She's
mentioned.
She's mentioned in future books?
In this movie, or in this book,
yeah.
or in this movie, I believe she's mentioned. I'd have to rewatch it, and unfortunately, at the end of this book, you're going to make me rewatch it. So Ron is now paired up with Seamus. Now, remember, Ron still has a broken wand thanks to the Whomping Willow. So they're instructed to use the Expelliarmus charm on their partners at the count of 3. Do we really think that Malfoy would wait until the count of 3? Like, I don't think it surprised anybody.
No.
So Malfoy started his spell.
Surprised Harry. It surprised Harry.
Surprised Harry. Look, Harry's like, look, we're here. We're in front of professors. He's not going to try anything.
True.
False. Yeah. So Malfoy starts on 2, and his spell hit Harry so hard that Harry said it felt as though he were hit over the head with a saucepan.
Mm-hmm.
But he still had his wand in his hand. So it's like, okay, it's the disarming charm, but he still got his wand. But it felt like he was knocked over the head. So we've got a couple inconsistencies here with this Expelliarmus charm. So naturally, Harry, I would have done the same thing with his wand, pointed his wand at Draco and shouted, Recta Simpra, which is a tickling charm. Because why would you want to hurt the guy that just cheated? You would want him to giggle and laugh. So a tickling charm. So laughing uncontrollably.
I tried to think, like, when did Harry learn this spell? But then I think of who he hangs out with, the twins. And okay,
absolutely.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So laughing uncontrollably, Malfoy muttered, Tarantalegra, which causes uncontrollable jerking and twitching in the legs of the person against whom the spell has been cast. And Harry's legs began to jerk and twitch uncontrollably. Snape came around and muttered a very important spell that gets used in many books.
Yes.
Finite incantatem, which is a counter curse to terminate the effects of some spells and the effect that the spell has. And it made both Harry and Draco's spells stop immediately. We see Finite incantatem brought up. It's a very, very important spell.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Everything about this is great. The place, well, you got to think. It's a bunch of it's a classroom filled with 12-year-olds and Lockhart. So, I mean,
Well, they're
Snape's
all
there,
years. They're all years because we've got most of the school. Most of the schools turned up.
Okay.
So I could imagine like the 6th and 7th year students were like, "Bro, Expelliarmus, we've practiced that for years now.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull out something."
Yeah. The place looked like a war zone. Kids lying everywhere, some in pain, some were bleeding. Ron was apologizing to Seamus for whatever his broken wand had done to him. And chapter notable number 5, Millicent Bulstrode had Hermione in a headlock. They weren't even using their wands. I think it said their wands lay on the ground forgotten.
Yeah.
They're just having fists with each other.
Yeah.
This plays a big part in the next chapter. Yeah, Hermione is
poor Hermione.
What did Ron describe her as? Brilliant but scary, and this is part of it.
Yeah.
Lockhart wanted to teach the students how to block spells.
Ooh.
Andrew, can you tell me what spell is used to block unfriendly spells?
You know, if it were me, I would pull out the old Protego.
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding.
If it were me.
Yeah, they didn't even mention that. I don't even think Protego is mentioned in the series at all.
Oh, no. It's mentioned in the series.
The word specifically?
Protego? I do believe so.
I'm not so sure. We're gonna have to pay
Yeah,
attention
because I know that Harry brings it out when he's doing lessons with Snape.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's okay. So that's the one time.
Yeah, I think it's probably mentioned.
Well, even then, you don't know what the spell is because it does something that you wouldn't expect a blocking spell to do.
Yeah.
So yeah. Even when he said that, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Good job, Andrew. You got it correct.
Come on now.
Lockhart was not inclined to duel
10
Snape.
times in the books.
10 times. Oh wow.
10 times. Yeah, 10 times in the books.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
You
have
can
to
all
pay
rest.
attention to that.
You can all rest soundly tonight.
So Lockhart did not want to duel with Snape again. So Harry and Draco were chosen to duel in front of everyone. Draco was being coached by Snape and Harry being coached by Lockhart. Now, okay, this is one of my favorite parts of the book. I'm not even going to lie. Lockhart shows Harry some ridiculous wand motion, and Snape whispered something in Draco's ear. Now, first, what do you think Snape whispered in Draco's ear? Because obviously he didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, win this. Win this. Do this. Because here's the thing. Draco was born in a house where the dark arts was respected.
Yeah.
So, and Draco, from what it sounds like in the first book, knew how to duel. Because he challenged Harry to a duel, and Ron was his second, right? So we know that Draco's got some tricks up his sleeve. Tell me this.
It mentioned too that Draco has a lot of pressure on him because of his family.
And that's very true. That's very true. Tell me this. Do you think that the wand motions become irrelevant the later it is in the series?
Yes, and I could not tell you why. Laziness, I guess.
Well, no, it seems like at the beginning, book 1, flick and it's like, okay, these spells have this motion. But then you've got these wizards that are moving lightning fast and even doing,
It's something that bugs me because anybody could point their wand and say the word.
Yeah.
What's to stop someone from doing that? You got to have the whole movement.
I personally don't like the whole wand movement requirement. I like that, knowing the spell, being able to cast the spell. She doesn't really. I think one of the things that J.K. could have done is, brought up that the wand isn't the source of the magic. It's where you focus, right? It helps you focus your magic.
Well, the wand kind of gets familiar with you and has these traits and connection.
Yeah. And which one of the reasons I love, and I think Deathly Hallows is such a great book, is that she gets so deep in magic and wand lore. But the fact that, okay, we're doing a dueling club and Gilderoy Lockhart shows Harry some fanciful over the head thing where it's like all of the things that we see, the most we see are, at least in the movies, they'll go over their head and then point, really hard, or a spell will come and they'll like flick it out of the way with a counter curse. But none of this, nobody's doing triangles and nobody's doing lightning, it's directed.
It wouldn't have looked good. It would have looked kind of, it sounds good, have the proper wand movement. But if you're watching,
or do you think that's what they have to teach them elementary?
That would make sense too.
Like,
gotta learn the basics.
You got to learn the basics. Eventually, you're not going to need these, but the movements help you focus on the spells.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're building that connection with the wand too.
Yeah. Maybe it's like handwriting. Yeah. You have to do the outline of the letters, and you do that over and over again until you're just writing so fluently. You're not even thinking about the move. I don't have to think about doing an A. I can just do it. Did we just?
I like it.
Did we? Something beautiful just happened there. Something
did we
magical.
Just become best friends?
Yep. That's what I love about these conversations. We can bring up stuff, we can discuss them, and then things will be like, oh, yeah. Because we even see in book 6, Dumbledore, makes a cabinet catch on fire without a wand.
Oh, okay, he's so great.
Right?
Great.
So, and you see Death Eaters flying.
There's a little bit of the wand lore, and we'll get into that as we go. That I don't know if it contradicts itself or it's just not talked about enough. But anyways, we got to get back to the best.
We're back.
So now Harry. Okay, this is Gilderoy talking. Now Harry, when Draco points his wand at you, do this. He raised his own wand, attempted a complicated sort of wiggling action, and dropped it. Snape smirked, and Lockhart quickly picked it up, saying,
"Do it, commit." Commit.
Whoops. My wand is a little overexcited. I gotta have the head movement.
Whoops.
Now, I wanted to ask you, can we call this another failed spell? Failed spell number 3?
Well, he wasn't casting a spell.
He still failed.
But the fact that you will definitely call this, we will call it a fail. Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to call it a failed spell. It's a fail. Lockhart, you're the worst.
This isn't the funny part, though, even though I'm laughing. So,
oh my gosh.
Harry had no idea what he was supposed to do. And Malfoy looked pretty confident, especially after Snape said, we don't know what he said, but Harry asked Lockhart to show him the wand movement again and spell, but Lockhart says, just do what I did, Harry. And Harry goes, what? Drop my wand? That's so the best quote ever. What? Drop my wand? Oh, man. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Malfoy raised his wand and yelled, Serpent Sorcia! And a long black snake, not Snape, same thing, appeared out of Draco's wand and landed between the two of them. Everyone backed away, afraid of the snake. Just as Snape was going to get rid of the snake, just as Snape was going to get rid of the snake, whatever I just said, Lockhart stepped in. This should be Oh, I think all of this should be a chapter notable, but
Yes.
we'll just go along with it. So Lockhart stepped in, pointed his wand at the snake, and a loud bang came from his wand, throwing the snake 10 feet up in the air. So Lockhart cast this spell non-verbally, which is another thing you can do. Which you, as far as I know, non-verbal spells are supposed to be attributed to powerful witches and wizards. It's not a trait everybody can just do. So that's a little confusing. But
well, and we also know from the Half-Blood Prince's potions book that some nonverbal spells are easier than other nonverbal spells.
Well, we all know that Lockhart thinks he knows how to do this, so he has all the confidence that he needs. So the spell is Alerte Ascendere. Apparently, that spell is used to launch something straight up into the sky with such velocity, I would assume the end result would be it going so high up that it just kind of vanishes. But for Lockhart... looking like he just made up another spell. All this did was launch the snake 10 feet up in the air and then back down onto the platform, and we get Lockhart's failed spell number 3.
This one we will call it failed spell number 3.
Yes, because we're going to get into what he was trying to do. What
Pop
he
quiz.
Meant to do.
What was his first failed spell?
Oh.
What were his first 2 failed spells?
Okay, so the second failed spell was Brachium Emendo. The first one, okay. Oh, I can't remember the first one. What did the spell start with? What letter?
It either started with an A or a P.
Oh, that didn't help.
Do you know what the situation was?
I can't remember.
A pisky pixie.
Pesky pixie pestinome.
Yeah, there it is. Yes.
Oh, so 1, 2, and 3. Oh, man. So when the stake landed, it slithered straight towards Justin Finch Fletcherly and raised up like it was going to strike. Then something very important happened. Harry walked towards the snake and yelled, "Leave him alone!" And the snake slumped to the floor, its rage gone, and it looked at Harry. Harry knew the snake wouldn't attack anyone, but he wasn't sure how he knew that. When Harry looked up and smiled at Justin, he yelled at Harry and then ran out of the Great Hall. Even Snape gave Harry a strange look as he used the spell Vipera Evanesca to make the snake disappear, which would have avoided all of this in the first place and possibly landed Malfoy in detention. And I would assume that was a spell that Lockhart meant to use. The spell Vipera Evanesca is a transfiguration spell used to vanish snakes, and thus could be used to even, as a counter curse.
Yeah, I could definitely see Snape telling Draco to use that curse.
Yeah, I feel like that's serpent sorcery. How would you think of?
Yeah.
I mean, it is the.
Hey Draco, you know what would be funny? Throw a snake at him.
What are we doing here?
Here's the spell.
Yeah, so like you said, even Snape, Justin yells at him. He leaves. Everybody's looking at him. Even Snape gives him this strange, like, what did we just see here? Mm-hmm. Ron pulls on Harry's robes. He, Ron, and Hermione, they leave the Great Hall. So then we get to chapter notable number 6. When they finally got back to the common room, Ron asked Harry why he didn't tell them that he was a parcel mouth. And Harry obviously has no clue what he meant. So Ron slowed it down for him and said, "You can talk to snakes." And Harry was like, "Oh, yeah, I've done it before." Like, he's so innocent. And
I bet loads of people can do it.
Yeah. And then we find out not only is this ability to talk to snakes insanely rare, but it's also a trait of Salazar Slytherin, which makes sense come on. Now that everyone knows that he can talk to snakes, everyone is going to think that Harry is the heir of Slytherin. And a side note here, the only wizards who spoke this language were dark or malicious wizards, Salazar Slytherin, and he who must not be named. Later on, we meet other characters, the Gaunts, who were descendants of Slytherin.
Mhm.
They could speak Parseltongue. And we also find another person who spoke it, Herpo the Foul, an ancient Greek dark wizard, who was the first known wizard to create the basilisk, and the first known, spoiler here, Horcrux. Notably, he is on one of the Chocolate Frog cards. So Harry wasn't able to explain to Justin that he wasn't calling off the snake because the herbology lesson was canceled due to the blizzard that was happening outside. Obviously, we're getting closer to Christmas, so we're going to get inclement weather.
I can't
So
wait till it
Hermione,
gets cold.
herbology's been canceled. So and Harry's like marching around, like he wants to be able to explain to Justin what's going on. And so Ron and Hermione are playing wizard chess. They're like, bro, just go find him. Go find Justin. Like, do.
Well,
this
I
thing.
get it too. Have you ever gotten somebody mad? Somebody been mad at you for like a misunderstanding, and you wanted nothing more than to be like, no, yeah, and that's all you think of.
Yeah,
I need to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Quit ignoring me. Quit ghosting me.
Yeah.
Let me explain. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So Harry goes looking for Justin. He finds himself in the library, and some really telling stuff happened here that, really paints the picture of why other students would think that Harry could possibly be the heir of Slytherin. So he found a group of Hufflepuffs speaking quietly to themselves, but Justin wasn't with them. So he listens to their conversation, and we meet somebody that comes up in the books, Ernie Macmillan. And he's the one that's doing most of the talking. And he says that Justin is hiding so that Harry can't find him, since Justin told him at the beginning of the term that he's Muggle-born. Oops. So if Harry is heir of Slytherin, he knows that Justin is Muggle-born, so he's a little nervous. So Ernie talks about Harry being a parcel mouth, a mark of a dark wizard. Slytherin himself was called Serpent Tongue. He points out that Harry had a run-in with Filch, which happened, and then his cat gets attacked. Colin was annoying Harry, and now Colin's in the hospital wing. And Ernie points out that no one knows how Harry survived Voldemort's attack, which this is not a bad argument.
No,
Voldemort was killing some of the most powerful wizards.
Yep.
So nobody knows how Harry survived Voldemort's attack as a baby, and that's probably why Voldemort attacked him in the first place, because he didn't want another powerful dark wizard coming at him in the first place.
No.
Which are all good points.
Yeah,
all good
it
points.
all lines up, it makes total sense. But Harry, not being able to take any more of this conversation, stepped out and stated that he was going to go look for Justin, which didn't help their fear of him. I think he actually, didn't he come out and
he comes to them? Yeah.
He
comes and talks to him. Yeah.
He tells them that he wants to explain to Justin what actually happened at the dueling club. Ernie refutes his claim and tells Harry that he's a pureblood. You have to give it to Ernie here. If he actually thought that Harry was Slytherin's heir, it took a lot of guts to refute Harry's claims that he was trying to help Ernie or Justin. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Ernie's like,
yeah,
but that's not what we saw. Bro, if you honestly thought he was the heir of Slytherin, and he's like, no, this is what we saw. Man's got some guts. Man's got some stones on him.
Yeah. So he storms out of the library in a rage and walks angrily through the corridors, not paying attention to where he was going. All of a sudden, he bumped into something very large, knocking him backwards. It was Hagrid, holding a dead rooster. The second one killed this term.
That's right.
Harry was walking back to his common room to pick up his Transfiguration book before his next class when he tripped over something else in the corridor. Chapter notable number 7, Justin Finch Fletcherly was lying on the floor, rigid and cold. Nearly headless Nick was floating there, looking black and smoky, floating immobile about 6 inches above the floor. Both Nick and Justin had a look of shock on their petrified, shocked faces. Harry looked around, panicking, and saw a line of spiders trying to get away from the petrified bodies. Before he could decide whether he was going to run or stay, which
I get it.
But Harry. Run? Nah, he's gonna stay and investigate. Peeves came bursting out of the classroom, sounding the alarm that there had been another attack. He immediately shouted at the top of his lungs, "Attack! Attack! No mortal or ghost is safe! Run for your lives! Attack!" And again, Harry was at the scene of the crime because he just run, Harry. Just
get out of there, buddy.
Yeah, looks like something happened over there. I should probably walk the other way.
People think I'm the heir of Slytherin. Let me be in crowded places at all times with what we call alibis.
Yeah, exactly. It just gets worse because everyone spilled out of the surrounding classrooms, including Professor McGonagall.
And then your boy Ernie shows up. Who thinks that he's convinced that Harry is the heir of Slytherin. Pronounces that, Harry's been caught in the act. But luckily, McGonagall wasn't having it. Justin was taken to the hospital room, or the hospital wing. Ernie helped nearly headless Nick waft up the stairs after Professor McGonagall transfigured a large fan. And then Harry tried to tell Professor McGonagall, look, I haven't done anything. But she responds this time, saying, Harry, it's out of my hands. Too many coincidences have happened. Yeah. I mean, who can blame her? Attacks are happening, and Harry was there.
Every time.
Yeah. So they walk until they come.
No, he wasn't there for Colin.
So. He wasn't there for Colin.
Yeah.
Wasn't there for Colin, thank goodness. So they walk until they come to an ugly stone gargoyle, and Professor McGonagall says, "Lemon drop." And the gargoyle jumped out of the way. The wall behind him split open, and a circular rotating staircase appeared. Now, are there other times in the book, or is it in the movies where there's two gargoyles?
I think there's only one.
Because I feel like...
Because I know there's only one, so... I mean, it could have been like an error.
Well, no, I'm just trying to think, because I felt like during Deathly Hallows, Harry has to go to Dumbledore's office to get the pensive, and maybe it was just one.
Well, Dumbledore could have got bored and changed it. I mean...
Yeah, you never know. Anyway, but he talks to him because he's like, the gargoyle has been broken by a spell. So he's like, don't mind me, just go. So anyway, the gargoyle jumps out of the way. The wall behind him split open, and a circular rotating staircase appeared as they rose up in circles before stopping in front of a large oak door with a griffin knocker on it. A griffin door.
Yes.
Harry knew immediately that this was where Dumbledore lived.
And do we actually know that he had lived there? Because I know it was his office. There was never any signs or any mention that he...
Well, the school, the professors live in Hogwarts during the school, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they could conjure up a bed and make it, disappear at the same time. So.
Well, I know they have living quarters.
Yeah.
Because even in book 5, Umbridge tries to get Trelawney out, and Dumbledore's like, you may have the power to fire a professor.
Yeah.
You do not have the power to kick them out of the castle.
I wonder if this was just a bad choice of words. Maybe where Dumbledore's office lived. I don't know why that just doesn't add up, because she didn't put in anything that hinted that he lived there. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into our final thoughts. Andrew, Take it. Run with it. Go, go, go.
So much happened in this chapter.
It's such a great chapter.
It is. Not only is it an entertaining chapter,
yes,
but again, the wizarding world gets broader and deeper. More spells. It's great. We see Hermione is like, look, I'll break all the rules.
Yeah.
I'll break all the rules to get down to this whole heir of Slytherin thing. So I love what Hermione, Hermione in book 2 makes it a no-brainer that she chooses to go with Harry in book 7. Right.
Yeah.
And so then, the whole dueling club, I can just see it. You can put yourself there as a student.
Well, that being said,
excited.
Do you think this chapter would have been as good if Gilderoy Lockhart was not in it?
I don't think Gilderoy adds anything to the overall theme
humor
of him being here. He's just their humor. I think you could have had.
But is there anybody else that you could put in his place to have that same humor?
No, and not, because I think having Gilderoy there and having Snake there, automatically Harry is put at a disadvantage. So you see Harry.
Gilderoy's just trying his hardest to help, and it's just not there. It's just
I think at this point, he's not even trying to convince other people, but he's trying to convince himself. He's trying to convince himself that he's a good wizard. And he keeps failing, so he keeps trying.
I thought of a question the other day, now that we're on this topic. What do you think Gilderoy's obsession with Harry Potter is? Because he seems to, pick him out, purposely pick him out, talk to him, try to give him backhanded advice. What do you say? I used to help lesser abled.
Well, I think it's number one. Harry is famous, and so Gilderoy is there.
Take advantage of it.
But I think there's a jealousy there that Harry, I don't want to say earned his fame, because he didn't do anything, right? He just survived a spell. And Gilderoy spent years and years and years creating this farce. And yeah.
Well, and we see he does try to take credit for things that Harry do.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, this chapter is great. Like I said, it felt like J.K. just kind of dropped the hammer and dialed in right here. I think from here on out, it gets so much better. Like it starts feeling a little bit more serious, at least with this chapter. I'm not so sure. Haven't got to the next chapter yet, so maybe it'll backtrack a little bit, and hopefully I'm not tooting our horns here and anything like that, but
it's good stuff.
No, I love it. So thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to watch or subscribe and follow us wherever you're listening to this, YouTube or a podcast platform, and join us next time when we review the Polyjuice Potion, Chapter 12 of the Chamber of Secrets. Andrew, sign us out.
Let's hit him with the classic quote. Whether you come back by page or by the big screen, Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you home.
And who said that?
J.K. Rowling.
Squibscorner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobaugh and co-hosted by Andrew Beecham and myself. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review. To inquire about being a guest, or if you have questions, comments, or just want to give us your Harry Potter story, email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow Jeremiah's YouTube, Accio Potter Guy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram at Squibscorner Podcast.